Ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted to be speaking here today. I first attended the Africa Shared Value Leadership Summit in 2017 when I was a member of the Shared Value Africa Initiative Steering Committee. And since then, I've keenly followed the growth and the deepening of the discourse on shared value as a key business proposition. It's an honor to speak to you here today from my new role where I lead the world's largest private sector sustainability initiative, the United Nations Global Compact. I assumed my position as Executive Director and CEO during the height of the coronavirus pandemic in June 2020, and I accepted the call to leadership with a profound awareness of the magnitude of the task at hand. Several of the SDG targets had already begun to roll back, and the demand for urgent action to reignite action towards the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development could not have been more relevant for the private sector. Indeed, in a world buckling under the weight of the COVID pandemic, it took an unprecedented yet organic collaboration between the private and public sectors around the world to unleash a rapid response to the unfolding health crisis. That lesson must be retained and guarded going forward. Business leaders must accept this call to joint responsibility. We all have a stake in this fight. As an African woman, I'm proud to see Africa shaping conversations inside and beyond the continent on how to lead businesses towards sustainability and corporate responsibility. Africa is a resource-rich, youthful, geographically vast, and politically diverse continent with expanding economies, robust private sectors and markets, growing wealth and capital, and improving governance and institutions. Recognizing these strengths means that we can approach business leadership from a position of strength and pride. Africa's diversity of cultures calls for us to bring forth our Ubuntu, our best principles of collective action. It calls for us to share our indigenous knowledge and to marshal our best abilities. We must do so in a way that connects our leadership outcomes with the hopes of our peoples and the demands of our green planet. Hopes for unity, self-determination, freedom, progress, and collective prosperity as espoused in our Agenda 2063, the Africa we want. However, we are operating in challenging times, not only because global development has been interrupted by the COVID-19 pandemic and the resultant economic crisis, but also because Africa continues to face challenges that fuel the global inequality of African economies and endemic poverty of our people. These challenges are related to infrastructure reach, access to finance, largely informal markets, and unfettered global competition. The global community celebrates Africa as a market for raw materials and an upcoming consumer market. We must recognize this aspect of exploitation and its influence that allows Africa's economic development to lag behind the rest of the world. African businesses will not survive this risk if they act unilaterally. It'll take a united front amongst business leaders to claim the space needed to compete fairly in Africa and in the global arena. To support the longevity of African businesses, we must adopt foresight in mitigating and eliminating risks, both internally and externally. De-risking means demanding fair and real participation in global spaces. De-risking requires supportive national, regional, and international governance institutions to drive equitable policy. De-risking calls for accountability, anti-corruption, and reduction of waste, and for businesses to make real investments in the communities they serve. This includes value chains as well as internal and external stakeholders. Profit must be driven by purpose. Indeed, purpose-driven profit is the only way to ensure that no one is left behind. Businesses cannot thrive in a failing world. They cannot thrive when our politics fail, when conflicts mushroom, and when states flounder. Today, consumers are voting with their money and demanding more accountability from corporations to promote sustainability. And a new generation of talented and socially conscious workers are voting with their feet and flocking to employers who embrace these principles and values. Ladies and gentlemen, the embrace of principle-based sustainability action not only serves to meet customer demands, it fosters greater innovation and opens up new business opportunities. These and other measures cannot be carried out unilaterally by the private sector. The Sustainable Development Goals recognize this challenge, the fallacy and risk of unilateral action. SDG 17 is precisely the call to action for partnerships for the global goals that the Global Compact espouses. The principle of collaboration and of profit with purpose is also enshrined in the African Continental Free Trade Agreement. Connecting 1.3 billion people across 55 countries, it is the largest free trade area in the world. It also represents a major opportunity for African countries to collaborate to drive intra-Africa trade, bring 30 million people out of poverty, boost growth, broaden economic inclusion. Its implementation will help usher in the kinds of reforms necessary to trigger sustainable economic growth. And as companies align their business operations with the African Continental Free Trade Agreement, they can also use the COVID-19 crisis to transform themselves and place sustainability at the core of their businesses. The challenges faced today, fragile trade networks and broken supply chains, declining trust and growing inequalities, and weakening international cooperation and social cohesion, offer an immense opportunity for businesses to reinvent themselves and transform their supply chains into engines for sustainable development. To support forward movement, the mandate of the Africa Shared Value Initiative is to advocate, create awareness, motivate, and lobby for business thinking and implementation to shift from a profit-only focus to profit with purpose. Ladies and gentlemen, the UN Global Compact shares a similar vision, a vision to inspire and mobilize a global movement of companies and private sector stakeholders committed to sustainability and responsibility. For over 20 years, Global Compact participants and signatories, currently numbering over 13,000, have benefited from aligning their strategies and operations with the Global Compact's 10 principles. The principles relate to human rights, labor, environment, and anti-corruption. In so doing, the private sector has also advanced broader societal goals, contributing to the Sustainable Development Goals. The 10 principles represent the shared values that businesses commit to when they join the Global Compact. These values are based on universally accepted principles that United Nations member states have endorsed. As Global Compact participants, businesses are called upon to adopt human rights principles, adhering to international human rights standards, and ensuring that they are not complicit in any abuses within their organization or supply chains. Labor principles call for just labor practices, elimination of child labor, recognition of the freedom of workers to associate, and non-discrimination. The principles challenge businesses to promote environmental responsibility and support the development and diffusion of environmentally friendly technologies. Global Compact partners are also called upon to work against corruption in all its forms, including extortion and bribery. By incorporating the Global Compact's 10 principles into strategies and establishing a culture of integrity, our business partners not only uphold their basic responsibilities to people and planet, but they also set the stage for long-term success. I am proud that the Shared Value Africa Initiative member companies are also participating in the Global Compact. Among them, I recognize SAPI from South Africa, ABSA Group, Lafarge Africa, Enel, Nedbank, Old Mutual, and Vodacom, and my former employer, Safaricom in Kenya. Shared Value Africa Initiative's goal of building Africa's most impactful business network resonates with the Global Compact's newly launched Africa strategy for 2021 to 23, which is entitled Mobilizing African Businesses for Impact. The strategy was launched in September 2021 during the high-level opening week of the UN General Assembly. It tailors the mission of the Global Compact to the reality of the business landscape in Africa. Globally, our ambition is to accelerate and scale the global collective impact of business by upholding the 10 principles and delivering the SDGs through accountable companies and ecosystems that enable change. To define the direction of our Africa strategy, we engaged a multitude of stakeholders. To define the direction of our Africa strategy, we engaged a multitude of stakeholders on the continent, including some members of the Shared Value Africa Initiative. Unanimously, they emphasized the central role that partnerships play in ensuring the success of business sustainability in Africa. These three objectives, shall guide our work in Africa to 2023. focus, inclusion, and leveraging influential drivers of sustainability. We will focus on the issues and programs that are most relevant to African companies and encourage leading Pan-African and national companies to use their strengths to drive sustainability action through their value chains. And we will push for a broad, equitable geographic reach among our local networks. Driving inclusive impact in Africa means that we must gain support among all companies, including SMEs, wherever they are on their sustainability journey. Regardless of their business sectors or where they are in Africa, we can only succeed if we work together. Tailored programs for Africa call us to align our work with 5 core SDGs, and these include gender equality, decent work and economic growth, climate action, peace, justice, and strong institutions, and partnerships for the goals. Success towards these goals will in turn support other SDGs, including those related to eradicating poverty and hunger. The Global Compact is present with local networks in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Egypt, Ghana, Kenya, Mauritius and Indian Ocean, Morocco, Nigeria, South Africa, Tanzania, and Tunisia, counting over 650 participants and signatories across the continent. To scale impact, we aim to grow our presence further on the continent with initial expansion in Algeria, Angola, Botswana, Congo-Brazzaville, Côte d'Ivoire, Ethiopia, Rwanda, Senegal, and Uganda. Ladies and gentlemen, in closing, I want to emphasize how closely our goals of the UN Global Compact are aligned with those of the Shared Value Africa Initiative. We are with you on this journey to build vibrant, resilient African economies. Together, through collaborative, coordinated action, we will achieve the Africa we want. Thank you.